That's another time for you to call. Go ahead, William.
Hey, Larry, great show. Been listening to you since 1993.
Holy cow. You probably got a couple gray hairs, too.
Well, I work for that chip company there down the street from you. Drove out of there every day, running to Miami or up to Valdosta.
Oh, wow.
But, hey, you're talking about batteries, you know. I remember as a kid in New Jersey, we used to walk the railroad tracks. And I remember some folks, they'd be working there and they'd be pulling the batteries out of the railroad crossings. And they said some of them batteries were 40 to 50 years old. And all they did was they added water to them. That's hard to believe. I mean, I remember them telling me that the batteries were that old. But anyway, back to my Ranchero. I got the air conditioner. Everything, it seems it kicks on and off the clutch in it. I'm just wondering if it's worth saving. So, you know.
Is this a factory AC system?
Oh, yeah, it's a huge unit compared to the new ones.
Yeah. William, I tell you, what I try to do in a lot of cases with these, if it's practical, is maybe go with one of those new sanding units, which is a smaller one and takes about half the horsepower is required to turn that old York compressor that's on there from the factory.
It's huge.
Yeah, I always kid around with them. You know, Ford and Chrysler back in the day, they were awful guilty of having these great, big, huge compressors. I said, my goodness, they should have just put a Harley-Davidson engine on this thing, you know, just for the AC compressor. But they're just gigantic, and they take so much horsepower. And the thing is, a lot of them didn't have any way to compensate the idle for the extra load that the compressor placed on the engine. So you'd have to have the engine RPM up at idle considerably higher just to compensate for all the load the AC compressor put on the engine. Well, they came out with these new brackets and stuff that you can get rid of that big old huge bracket on there and put a smaller compressor on it that's twice as efficient as that big old monster Harley-Davidson motor that they're using. And it makes the AC a lot colder. The engine doesn't lug down. It's just a lot better way of doing it. Vintage Air or Classic AC, those companies have those compressors and those brackets for it, and that would be all you would need if that was, you know, all that, you know, a person was concerned with. But it makes the system a lot colder, a lot more efficient, and doesn't drag the motor down as much. In some cases, I still have to use the OE compressors. We got a 64 Thunderbird down there now that I had to use the same compressor that came on it, which is a big old York compressor. But, you know, on your case there, they do make one for yours. We've done one here a while back. It just makes the system work better, a lot colder, a lot more pleasure to drive when it's hot outside. Hey, thanks for your call. Don't be a stranger. Call me back on this thing. We ain't done talking about this old Ranchero with the 351 Cleveland.